welcome to the Talking Demons podcast, episode 1. So, if you haven't guessed by the title, it's a podcast talking about demons, right? More specifically, two specific um people, me and my co-host. Or I said my co-host. I'm not leading it. We're together on this. Me and Byron. So we will be doing this weekly, as weekly as we can, and it is literally going to be all things demons, whether it may be talking about results, latest trends, our own experiences, topics, you name it. Talking demons. It's what we're going to be doing, right?
Yeah, and occasionally talking shit about each other, but we'll see.
What do you mean occasionally? That's what half the podcast's going to be, right? And we will have the occasional guest on as well. So we are obviously it's going to be uploaded on the channel, but I am going to sort out Spotify and stuff because when we did like a test run of a podcast last year, me, Byron, and Luke, that was a big thing. People wanted to try and get it on Spotify and Apple, whatever. I'm not going to mess about with the Apple shit, but not yet anyway. But this will go on Spotify, so this is going to be from now. This is going to be a proper demon podcast because I've been wanting to do this for a while. And yeah, I'm really excited. So before we do that, let's just do the sponsory shit. So of course, the True Demon Lord channel. If you're not subscribed, go subscribe to it. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're probably already. But if you're not, please, it's massively helps out the channel, and you can keep up to date with all demon stuff, all my content, which is all demon related, etc., etc. I think at this point, if you're watching the video, you generally know about it. And then we now have a new sponsor. Or I say new sponsor. We have a sponsor, Warzone Events. So Warzone Events, they run monthly events. For mostly 40k. They also do Sigma, Old World, Marvel Crisis, whatever it's called, Middle Earth, Heresy, Blood Bowl, I think Guild Ball, etc. etc. They do loads of stuff. They run monthly events, monthly 40k, and then they do other bits. And then they run GTs. So it's normally RTTs. They also run GTs taking place in Gillingham in Kent. So they are my local events, but they are very well set up events. All GW terrain for 40k. Very good terrain, run by a couple of really good guys in Mark and Simon. So if you're in the southeast, if you're in Kent, if you're in Essex, Surrey, London, Sussex, whatever, like honestly, check them out. They're really well run events, and they're actually on the cheaper end of the spectrum as well as far as our events go. So yeah, check out Warzone Events. I will put links in the description. So they are our new sponsor. But yes, very well run events. So episode 1, Byron, what are we talking about?
We're talking about Chaos Knights, new Chaos
Boo,
Knights,
boo, boo.
and how they're going to affect demons.
Yeah, so obviously they are the new thing on the block. They're very interesting. I've obviously I assume you haven't played into them yet. I haven't. I know that.
No, I
Um,
haven't played into them, but I've been reading the codex in a lot of detail because that's one of my other armies.
yeah. So and they're an army that I feel like Chaos Knights are always an army that they're always there, right? They're like a what do you call them? A gatekeeper. So like you won't run into a lot of them, but when you do, um, and they've taken some nerfs, which the nerfs I like, as a person who plays against knights. But I feel like there is definitely having literally just before we come on here, just to try and get some fresh rules in the head. We did just have a quick chat. So some of the rules are good, and I am actually really jealous of at least one of the detachments, actually two of the detachments. So yeah, so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to go into it and look at it from a demon point of view. So
Yeah.
army rule wise, Byron, I'll let you take it away since you've got the book in front of you. So, how does the army rule work?
Yeah, so it's kind of so those who played Chaos Knights in ninth edition will kind of resemble a little bit of this. It's you basically have a table of dread abilities, and you've got one ability that's active for the entire game. You don't have an option with that one. It's every model gets a 9-inch aura of -1 leadership to the enemy. The rest of the table is based on either a d6 roll, so you get to pick at the start of the first, third, and fifth battle rounds how you want to do this. Each battle round you can choose if you want to either roll 2 dice and randomly determine your dread abilities, extra dread abilities that you get, or you get to pick one. Now, the key with these abilities is that they're active for the remainder of the game. So the order that you pick them is obviously very important. And the other key thing is if you get duplicates on your 2 dice roll, you don't get to like re-roll or anything. You've just got that one ability. You don't get a bonus version of any ability. So that you have, it's something to bear in mind if you haven't got like any abilities to re-roll. As far as I've looked through the book, there's no like abilities to re-roll your dreads or anything like that. So if you end up rolling a duplicate, tough luck, you have to just keep that one. So the dread abilities are all very cool. You've got, first of all, plus 3-inch range to all of your aura abilities.
Really
And that's
good.
lovely because quite a few of these dread abilities are aura abilities, including obviously the -1 leadership to the enemy.
They apply to themselves. I didn't even think of that. Oh,
They apply to
nuts.
themselves.
Wow.
There's one where you do an extra -1 leadership to the enemy, which is cumulative with the starting one, Deathly Terror. There's one where if an enemy is battle shocked, you get +1 to wound against them each time you make an attack. There's one where if an enemy is either battle shocked or more than 18 inches away from you, they get -1 to hit you. Quite nice as a defensive buff. And now those last two are the only ones that aren't aura buffs. So obviously nothing to buff with the extra 3-inch range.
Yeah.
You've then got the good old battle shock at below starting strength. If you're within 9 inches of a Chaos Knight, absolutely horrific for enemies who are low leadership already and get the extra -1 and then Deathly Terror from the beginning off. -2 to your battle shocks and when you're below starting strength. I'm already looking at Franco nodding, going, I wish we had this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn it.
And then the other one is a kind of resemblance to something that demons have already, is anything that fails a battle shock test whilst within 9 inches of an enemy takes D3 mortal wounds.
It's just it's basically a 9-inch shadow bubble, right? Almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Obviously usable with the +3 range to your auras.
Yeah. Makes it quite horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But the key thing actually with the failed battle shock test one, suffering D3 mortal wounds, that does not combo with the below starting strength thing. Because the D3 mortal wounds one says only if a unit that's below half strength fails a battle shock test.
Does it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not as good as our shadow one. Like we can cause mortal wounds for triggering off starting strength with Bellicor, for example.
Yeah, but I mean, some pretty good abilities. Some very good abilities.
Yeah, some very nice abilities, very nice battle shock abilities. Obviously it's mostly catering towards battle shock, but then the other abilities like giving yourself +1 to wound against things that battle shocked, giving enemies -1 to hit you if they're battle shocked, things like that. Some decent defensive buffs in there as well as just messing with the opponent's primary.
Yeah, so I think we had a chat about this before we came on, but I think from the point of view of a Knights player, personally for me, Vibers playing it, obviously they always get their free terror from the beginning. I think the best way for them to approach that would be, unless they're against an army that can put out a lot of range and they're going to get some turn 1 line of sight, they're probably just going to roll the first round. They roll for 2 and hope not to roll a double, because they're not going to have to worry about, unless they do unluckily roll a double, they're not going to worry about rolling something they've already got. And then round 3, round 5, they just pick the other 2, right? Yeah, I think, but yeah, I've been saying for a while, and I pretty much always say this: Plague Legion is a battle shock army done right. This maybe it's just me because I do like battle shocks as a concept, and I do like playing it. But I've really wished I had some of this stuff. Yeah, this is
There's definitely big elements of this that are a Battle Shock army done right. I really like the progressive nature of that.
yeah, so do
You
I.
don't just get everything off the get go.
No, it
You
gets
do have to use your brain and
as the game
pick
goes
things
on.
carefully.
Yeah, I like it. Looking at it, so thinking about obviously from our point of view into like not so like because we're demon players, they can still take. I assume they can still take our units, right? That's not changed. They can still ally in and
They can, yeah, so they can, that
so
bit, if anything changes with that, it would change with our
yeah,
index.
it's our rule in it. Because what's really interesting, they could take blue horrors, and then they can have an additional -1 on the leadership, so they can actually take -3. They could take fiend slash bloodletters, so they're forcing units to fall back, take desperate escapes on the fallback, and if they're battle line, if they're battle shock, sorry, they're at 1s, 2s, and 3s dying,
Extra
which they can
marks.
do quite easy. So just a couple
Yeah.
synergies there. I know we're talking about how we're going to deal with them, and now we're helping them, but like that's quite nasty. Ah,
We can equally talk about how we're helping them as well, for sure. Like,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
we
Like,
have a fair few battle shock tricks, like you mentioned. So
yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I like that as an army rule. I really, I wish that's what Shadow of Chaos did. Progressive, like something got better. Even if it did just still take battle shots, like us and them, like it got better or worse, and it done some bits and pieces. I would like a rework to battle to Shadow of Chaos doing something like that. That would be quite cool. Um,
it would make a
okay,
lot of sense because the law that they've written here for Harbingers of Dread is where Chaos Knights tread, the skies grow unnaturally dark and the power of the warp permeates the battlefield. Are you
which is
telling me that Shadow Chaos doesn't actually
which
do
is
that as well?
yeah, but the difference is we're bringing the real warp. They're kind of turning the things around them warp esque. We are literally bringing the warp with us. So you would think, yeah,
They are
um,
literally bringing darkness.
I know,
That's
but
what they're doing.
but
We're
this is
bringing the warp, the
yeah,
friggin' warp itself.
but this is prime example of outdated rule, right? Like this, we're talking about our army rule, which is a start of 10th edition over 2 years ago, or about 2 years ago now, to a detachment rule now, which is 2 years on. So makes sense. And if
And I
we
think
are
you
we
also
are
have to take into account that if they gave us this ability um, as an aura ability on all of our units, we have a lot more unit options. So
yeah,
it would
definitely.
have to make the aura a lot smaller, and
Let's just
how
keep
it
it
works
the
as a
Shadow of Chaos
it would
drop.
be
Don't make it an aura. Just do it in the Shadow of Chaos. Because the Shadow of Chaos is
yeah,
something that's controllable from your opponent's point of view, right? They can stop it by
that's true.
controlling. So I think I'm not saying this exactly, but something like this. I've always had a thing. I've always liked progressive abilities or progressive army rules or whatever, where it's some good abilities, but either you don't have them all at once because they trade out as the game goes along, or you have to trade them out yourself, or as the game goes on, as the game gets longer and older, the stronger whatever the effect is. I always like that type of thing. I always have. I think it's a really cool um way to approach a rule. So I really like this as an army rule. I really, really like this. Um it's probably Plague Legion are probably the second best Battleshock army in the game now after this, I think. I am jealous as someone who's now like a Plague Legion main. I'm really jealous. Um, cool. So yeah, and then obviously, so let's quickly talk about the kind of the overarching nerf slash I say, but I think it's a bit of a side grade, maybe more of a nerf than a buff. But the fact that all the knights lost a point of toughness, but they gained uh the big knights gained wounds. The little knights didn't gain wounds. Are they still 12 wounds, the war dogs?
They're 14. They
Well,
gain two
40, so they
wounds.
did gain wounds. So obviously, little dogs are
Yeah.
now T9. Big little dogs, little knights, yeah. Big knights are T11, but little knights are 14 wounds down. The big knights are 26. Is that right?
Yeah.
But
And
the
a
the
tyrant
tyrant
is
is
28.
28, so he did go up. Is he still T12? Or is he T11 as well?
Still T12. He's now
He's
the
still
only one that's
T12.
T12.
Okay, which makes sense. I like that progressive. Yeah. Okay, I'm actually I don't mind that. And then what I
No
do
two
love
up armor save though anymore.
was that.
No two up armor save anymore. They used
Oh,
to
they
be
got
two
three
up
up
armor
now.
save.
Yeah,
And
they used to have
yeah,
two up. Oh, nice. Okay. And obviously knights will have a 5 invuln versus shooting. Um, the biggest change I think that benefits us or for us going into this matchup is War Dogs going from OC 8 to OC 6. That's a really big and the battle line change because war dogs are no longer battle line, so they can't take 6 of a night now. Not that I think you're taking 6 brigands anymore because I don't think they're as good as they were, but like it's nice now that there's more of a limit. So you like it's not like oh, I've killed 3 brigands. Shit, there's still 3 more. Like and before where it was like two war dogs made it really hard to contest on the point. Whereas 2 now, I know it's a drop of 4 OC, but that 4 OC is actually fairly large considering we're an army that can actually put out a good amount of OC with decent enough units. So, okay. And then they've still got the Dreadblade ability, so they can ally in as they always used to. 1 big knight, 3 little knights, which obviously is something for us. Like, you can still take 3 war dogs, or you could take a big knight. Um, all the knights got cheaper, is
Three
that
War
right?
Dogs is much lesser of an appealing option
Yes,
now.
I agree. But
Um,
I don't know. Some of the big knights now feel like they're actually fairly good, for at least for their points cost. I'm a really big fan of
yeah,
the Abominant,
I've seen people put work in with allying a Rampager where they maybe don't want to take
yeah.
a Greater Demon.
Which is, I mean, it was a bit of a valid. Like some people did do that before, but I think that's a very valid strat. I think a Rampager in a list, even especially in a list like Incursion, where you don't like you want to punch a hole through with something tough like a knight, like that knight and then make space for another greater demon to come in next turn or whatever. Um,
Yeah.
the Abominant, I still look at that guy for Plague Legion. I've been looking at him like for the last few months, but I don't know. He just seems really good because he can just
Debuff.
24 inch away battle shock a unit, which is good for us, right? It's what we do. Like it adds to the battle shock stuff, and you know, the debuffs from the Shadow of Chaos will still take into effect because it's an effect around the area, not on the battle shock itself. So if they're taking a battle shock of any type within the shadows, they're -1 taking mortals. And then that guy is just a fairly solid unit, I think, for his points cost now. It's really solid. So right, let's have a look. We're not going to go too deep into the detachments, but we're just going to pick on the bits that we think are fairly strong for them, and things that concern us or whatever. So, I think we should start with the original one being Traitorous Lance because they affect the army rule, right? Since we're still on that topic, so I'll let you read. Since you got the book in front of you, I'll let you do the reading of the rules.
Yeah, so it's a very simple one with Traitorous Lance. Basically, at the start of the first battle round, after you've picked your red abilities, whether you roll randomly or just pick one, you get to pick an extra one, and then it's active for the rest of the game. So it's a very simple rule that leans quite heavily into what you were saying earlier about first turn, you can take this detachment, you
Yeah.
can roll 2, and then pick another one. So Traitorous Lance is able, out of 7 abilities, to have 4 of them active from the
What's
first turn.
the crack on that? Can they? What comes first? Can they roll 2, then pick one from the detachment rule, or do they have to pick one, then roll 2? Because that's quite
So
important.
after selecting one or more dread abilities to be active for your army.
Then you pick another one. Oh, so you just roll 2 and then
Yeah.
pick another one. Oh, wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Because if you had to do it the other way around, you have a risk of doubling. But since it's that way
Yeah.
around, that's yeah. So I think if you're taking Traitorous Lance, or if a night player is taking Traitorous Lance, if why
100% first turn you.
always double roll? And then it's like if I
Yeah.
want the shooty one, I'll just pick it if I don't roll it. Fine. Wow, yeah. Oh, that's
Get the desired buffs, as many of them as you can, as quickly as you
yeah,
can. So
that's
yeah,
good.
it's really strong. And the other big pick out with this detachment is because it's the index detachment, it's the one that has
Nice.
the stratagem to go through walls.
Yeah, which is good. Obviously, big knights can go through walls, and on a 2+, they don't take a battle shock. Or they're not battle shock, sorry, but yes, to have it and not have to risk that, or just do it on war dogs, pretty good. I think this is definitely going to be a bit of a mix, like some big knights, some little knights, because the big knights actually feel like they're strong now. Um, what any key enhancements to worry about, or are they pretty much what they were before?
I'm just going to have a quick look
Because
through
they
them.
they used to
So
have a
they've still got the
sticky one,
sticky
right?
objective one.
Yeah.
Um, there is one that messes with dread abilities, actually. I know I was saying before there's nothing that allows you to re-roll. I've missed
Oh
something.
God.
Um, so yeah, so it's enhancement on anyone. Um, each time you roll dice to randomly select dread abilities, you can reroll one or both.
Okay. Oh wow. So this is literally the
This is the dread
dread ability
abilities
detachment.
detachment.
Okay, I like it.
This is like a full on. I'm gonna lean into this
Yeah,
army rule.
I like that.
And
That's good.
there's another enhancement which is probably the best one in this whole detachment is you get a 4-up invuln against ranged on a Chaos Knight and a 5-up against combat.
It's the Ion Shield one. Yeah, nice. So
Very nice because rotate diabolic bulwark or whatever that is not part of Traitorous Lance anymore. So yeah, it's important to have that somewhere in the
yes.
detachment, even if it's only fixed on one person.
Mhm. So and strats are the strats roughly the same. They've still got to move through wall strat, which is
It's still
the
going to
best
move through
strat.
walls. It's still got terror shades. That
Yeah,
works exactly how it used to.
yeah,
A long leash works, I think, similarly how it used to.
yeah.
Where your war dogs get affected by aura abilities from basically anywhere on the table. Um, yeah, pretty much what they used to be. 6-up Fear No Pain, 5-up Fear No Pain against
Cool.
battle stocks. What
So
I can see, it's what they
I
were.
feel like approaching this matchup, I would say it's the same, but it's not because of the change to the army rule. So, but they're going to be taking into it hard. So they're going to be wanting to force the battle sharks to make their ranges better on all of it, and then kind of similar to us in a way in some respect, but better, I think. We of course have the shadows, so I think if you're playing against that detachment, you want to keep shadows wherever you can get it because you want that +1 battle shock. Because they worsen your leadership, right? Yeah. So the chances are if you're within 12 of them, you're gonna be at -2 leadership, right? So we can at least counter that with the -1. So on our battle line units or anything that has a icon, we're gonna be on sevens. If it's a greater demon, we're going to be on sevens, which is scary. So we become a leadership 7 army. If it's fucking Nurglings, you know, they're going to be on nines. Um, Blue Horrors on nines as well. So yeah, I mean, I think Shadow. Like, what's your opinion on that? I think to try and counteract that, I think
Yeah,
Shadow is very important in this matchup.
yeah. Shadow is important, and if you don't have shadow, you will partially think, oh, it's only swinging it by one. You're going from sevens to eights, eights to nines.
Yeah.
It can be a huge deal, and battle shock is one of those things that you will kick yourself if you only fail it by one.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a lot of the time going to be a 4 or 5 point primary swing when you do fail it.
Yeah.
So definitely shadows is important. Which model takes the 4-up in one and 5-up against combat enhancement is very important. How you deal with that. There's one stratagem which I think is new. Chaos Knight players who watch this video might know otherwise, but I don't remember having this one before. Is when you're targeted by a ranged attack, you get stealth and cover.
That's not
So
bad.
that basically just nullifies
Yeah.
chicken, in my opinion. To
Yeah,
just be like,
it
can't
hurts.
efficiently shoot
I was
with
gonna
it
say
anymore.
mostly doesn't affect us too much because if we do have any shooting that's worth it, it generally ignores cover anyway, and it's most of the time torrent. But yes, thinking about it, yeah, the Everstave chicken does not like this. If you're playing Scintillating Legion, all right, good luck. That's gonna hurt. It's a strat, right? So wherever you're gonna
Yeah, it's a
put
strat. So
so wherever you pyrogenesis, they'll counter it with that probably. Unless you're unless you're on flamers, because if you're doing it with flamers, then there's no point. Um, but if it's a chicken, which is most of the time is going to be the chicken, yeah. Um, okay, so yeah, I think the other cool thing, at least we have against this with the shadows, is that they might be a little bit hesitant. They might just, if you get the right or the wrong player, I guess, from our point of view, they might just think, screw it, I don't give a shit. But some players might go, oh, I'm a bit afraid to keep causing the demon player battle shots because I'm just going to heal them, especially on greater demons, especially on battle line. So it can work in our favor to if we roll well enough. And basically, if we roll average on 2d6 most of the time. So I feel like we have probably the best defense in the game, bar maybe Unforgiven Task Force, Dark Angel, which is not common at all. Unless you play Plague Legion and your name's Franco, then you will run into it in the which is bullshit. But yeah, no, like I don't yeah, I think as an overarching thing, I think we probably had the best counter to this, but it's still really good, right? They force battle shots
I
early.
think looking at it from
Or,
straight away an incursion point of view, I don't think I've massively changed how I play into this.
yeah, no, I agree. I think,
Yes, my primary game might go down a little bit, but
yeah,
my main focus is ignites are better than war dogs now, and people are going
mhm,
to have more of them. And I'll still probably kill them just
yeah.
as efficiently as I
So
used to.
from my point of view, as I guess I am a Plague Legion player, I've been playing it for months. Um, I look at this specifically and think, okay, I actually feel like I have a really good counter for it because if I'm like, oh shit, I failed a battle shock, fine, I'm just gonna battle shock the like if it's one night and a unit play bearers on the same objective and I failed the battle shock on the play bearers, I'm just gonna go cool. Or I can at least preempt it and go, I'm gonna because they're all leadership 7, right? They're not great leadership. So I can just go, cool, I'm gonna battle shock Juice, and at least we're both and if I've already held it with a sticky, that counters it as well. So I feel like I can balance it out by forcing the battle shots back. Fighting fire with fire, right? In that scenario. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
we've definitely got answers to deal with this. I think more than pretty much anyone else, which is nice. Though I do feel like scintillating's gonna suffer a bit. Blood Legion, if you play Blood Legion, which I doubt anyone does, but you know. Um, but yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup with that detachment. But it's not the scariest. I don't think. Um, so let's look at the one that we're both quite high on, right?
Yeah, this is as I said, I play Chaos Knights myself. It's the first one I made an army list with because I just love the way it plays and I love
And
the idea of
I
it.
felt when you were telling me how it works, I think I don't think I could have shown my jealousy anymore. How much I love this like rule.
So it long story short, this is basically a Dark Pact,
Yeah.
and this is the Infernal Lance detachment for anyone listening. Um, so in your command phase, all of your Chaos Knights, you can pick and choose between each knight. They get to make a Dark Pact. They call it a Malefic Surge. So you roll a leadership test. You get just like Dark Pacts, you get the buff regardless. You roll a leadership test on the model, and if you fail it, you take D3 mortal wounds. And then the best way I can probably phrase this is you put a token next to your model to say that you have done a Malefic Surge. And then until your next command phase, you have one of 3 abilities that you get to trigger. And once you've triggered it, you remove your token. So one of those abilities is when your knight makes a normal advance or fallback move, you get +3 to your move. Very simple. Straight away after your command phase using the movement phase. The second one is when you're chosen to shoot or fight, you pick either sustained 1 or lethal hits, and until the end of the phase, you get that on all your weapons. Nice and simple. Some very nasty combos. There's an enhancement that benefits nicely off that as well. Which, yeah, I just think sustained or lethal, like have that at will for a leadership test. I think anyone would take that.
Yeah.
And then the last one, this is the one that really I think messes with us a lot because we love our AP4 combat. Is you get when you're selected as the target of an attack, you can pop this and you get a 5-up invuln and a 6-up for no pain.
Yeah,
Now
that's
you might be thinking
so
knights have a 5-up invuln against shooting anyway. We're demons, we don't look at shooting. So that is particularly amazing for when Skarran decides to charge 2 war dogs.
yes.
And all of a sudden, both of them go, oh, we might have taken D3 mortal wounds last turn, but we both have 5-up invulns and 6-up for no pains now. So Skarbrand, you ain't killing both of us.
No, that's yeah, that's oh man, I really like the way it triggers as well. So you do your leadership test, pass or fail. If you fail, you take the 3 mortals, like you said, and then you get a token. But you can use that token at any point between then and the start of your next command phase, right? So that's a really good trigger. So from our point of view, if you've got a nice big smashy greater demon ready to plow into a like multiple not like 2 war dogs to try and get them off, and they've got tokens next to them, you need to have a think. Unless you're desperate, you need to try and give yourself a fail safe plan because they can just both pop the 5-up 6-up. and then that could be the difference between you not taking the objective and taking the objective. Here's a really interesting interaction, or something that could really screw us over with that. If you're rocking Shadow Legion and you've got the um Fate of Darkness Bloodthirster, um you want to be careful, because if you're planning on going into a night and you normally a Bloodthirster kills a War Dog, right? Um we can, yeah, you have to be careful, because they pop that 5 up invuln and 6 up for no pain. Yeah, we could be that could be the difference between you actually getting your Bloodthirster to go and then him being stuck there because they just passed too many invulns. So, and also with the full no pain from Relentless Carnage, um, yeah, yeah, it's annoying.
It's honestly, it just turns what would be like an efficient combat from one of our monsters to it's really swingy now.
Yeah, yeah, it's very good.
And it was swingy enough in the first place. You and I have enough PTSD as it is from
Yes,
2 ups to hit and 3 ups to wound
yes,
and
it's
failing to kill stuff. All of a
yeah,
sudden, those models having invuns. I love going into stuff and going, oh, my opponent's got no save.
mm-hmm,
Cool, just make my life a lot easier.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I'd rather the opponent didn't get a chance to roll dice because that's how I like to win my games. But unfortunately,
Take you
they're
out
not
the entire equation and make it all me. No,
yeah,
that's boring.
all about
That's
me,
boring.
me, me.
No, that's boring. Why do you think I love Plague Legion? Just like, you could stop me here, and then that makes me think more. I like it. Um, so yeah, I mean, I love that rule. Fell in when you told me that. I fell in love with it. I wish we had something like this. But so you said about an enhancement that interacts, right, with the sustained lethal, right?
Yeah, so in my opinion, this is probably maybe I'm being harsh. This feels like the only good enhancement in this detachment. The detachment rule really drags it home. Um, so this is the Knight Diabolus enhancement, which gives you +1 weapon skill. And when you're using your Diabolic Power Malefic Surge, so that's after you've triggered your sustained or lethal hits, you get Lance as well.
Yeah, that's good. That's very
So
good.
it's fundamentally just a very good enhancement. I think a lot of people are going to want to take a Knight Desecrator in this detachment because you've got both the shooting of being able to pop a vehicle. It's 3-shot weapon, so you can get lucky with sustained every now and then as well on that. But if you don't want to use it on the 3-shot weapon, use it on your combat and go in with 2s to hit. You've got the claw, you're sweeping with 8 attacks, hitting on 2s, sustained or lethals, and then with Lance as well, you'd probably go sustained against most targets because it's
Yeah.
strength 10 with its sweep attacks, and flat 3 damage. It's very nice. It's something that I'm definitely looking to run myself. Haven't spoken about the Cerastus Knights for a very good reason because I think the Lance is just like the ultimate cop out to um, having a knight that can do combat really well.
Yeah.
But for a competitive game, he's an obvious one that
Yeah,
Demon players
definitely.
need to think about.
Yeah, definitely. They're
Because
annoying.
4-up invuns, we know how skew they can be,
Yeah.
how dicey they can be. So he's an issue to deal with.
Hmm.
Um, Another one of the enhancements we were talking about earlier briefly. It's very expensive. I think it's like 30 points. Um, Gives you an extra 2 wounds and rerolls in your leadership tests when you do Malefic Surges. Now, whilst initially you're going, oh, it's only 2 extra wounds. So I'm just going to check. Knight Lancer at base has 28 wounds, so he goes up to 30 wounds.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So 30 wound model with 4-up invuln all the time. Moving 14,
Man.
rerolling his leadership test to get his abilities, so he's probably never going to take wounds. And he's OC 10. He can tank shock for free, and yeah, potentially moving 17, and then it's a 1 in 6 chance that he gets battle shocked with an OC 10 brick every turn is just horrible, and that's not even assuming that you do the +3 move, not even thinking about getting sustained or lethals, or he doesn't need the unnatural fortitude unless you really want that 6-up Infernal Pain on all those wounds.
Yeah.
But I personally would never use that ability on him. It's got to be between the move and the sustained.
Yeah, I think unless the move is very good, right? And he moves 12,
Yeah.
so give him 15-inch move. Unless he's got a 14-inch move, I don't know. I can't remember. I
He's
think he's
got a
got 12.
14, yeah. The Cerastus one's at
Wow,
14.
so it's 17. That's scary because that's really hard.
17
That's
inch
really hard
move
to
and a
avoid.
1 in 6 chance for Battle Shock
Yeah,
if he goes
goes
through
through the
walls.
wall. That's scary. This attachment actually is really scary. Um,
Yep.
what about strats? Any major strats to think about or worry
Um,
about?
so this is the strat that got the this is the detachment, sorry, that got the Diabolic Bulwark strat.
Okay,
So 4-up in 1 when you're targeted by something, and you get it for the whole phase. That's only in shooting. Otherwise, there's some okay ones. There's a sticky objective strat,
nice.
um, but that's only on your command phase just after a knight's character has made a Malefic Surge. So only big ones can do it. Um, I guess
Still
you
not
don't
bad.
have to pass the leadership test to make a Malefic Surge, so you basically just spent a CP on sticky. Um, you can get ignores cover on your ranged weapons. It's quite nice on the despoiler with double Gatling,
Yeah.
or maybe even the battle cannon because it's only AP1.
We don't really need to
Um,
worry about that, but like in general, that's not a bad strat to have into Marines or
in
something.
general, it's a decent
Yeah.
strat to have if you're looking to take a Chaos Knight with battle
Yeah.
cannons. Um, you can. Okay, this is a good one. Fight phase, enemy gets -1 AP.
That's good. That's good because we
Yeah.
obviously we like our AP2, AP3, so that's pretty nice. Um,
It's
oh
very good
man,
on all of our AP2 weapons that might want to go kill war dogs and,
screamers,
for example, Great and Clean ones. All
screamers
of a
as well.
sudden, yeah,
Yeah,
screamers as well. A Great and Clean one trying to kill a war dog isn't as light work um, as it used to be, I don't think. On face value, we look at it as we don't need to make them -1 toughness anymore, but the 2 extra wounds can make the difference.
definitely.
Um, and obviously, the -1 AP can make the difference. 6-up Infernal Pain if they trigger that from their surge. Yeah, there's this detachment is I just love it. There's so
Yeah,
many
it's good.
variables that the enemy has to think about when they're playing you. If you don't use your prolific surge ability in your turn, every enemy is going into their turn going, these knights have got 5-up invulns and there's nothing I can do about it, and 6-up Infernal Pains. So
This
it's
this
it's
this
very good
this
against combat armies, particularly.
yeah, this feels. I mean, you'll know more than me. This feels rough for incursion. This feels like a really rough detachment for incursion. Shadow Legion as well, but I feel Shadow Legion might have a little bit because they can take into lesser stuff, so they can kind of get around with certain things. From Blade Legion point of view, it's ifs and so's. It can be annoying, but like it depends. Um, I think it's awful. Like I don't think it's good for scintillating. I don't. I think it's just a bit of a rough matchup in general. I think some of the attachments like Shadow Plague might be okay, better than the others into it, but since Incursion is still the most commonly taken detachment, oh man, um, yes, doesn't sound
Let me
nice.
I'm just going to interrupt you briefly. The stratagem that I've missed. Sorry, Chaos Knights guys. We need to be careful about this one. We really need to be careful about this one
Oh god, what
because
is it?
um, end of any phase, a Chaos Knights unit from your army that's no longer empowered can just make a Malefic Surge.
So you can spend the token,
You can
get an
spend your token
affinity.
for sustained or lethal or +3 move, get rid of it, and then at the end of that phase, whichever one you spent it in, empower him again.
So you, oh my god, so you can if you're planning on going punching something hard, like they want to go kill a great demon, +3 move, and then pop that to do it again, and then get sustained lethals in the fight phase. Oh
Yep.
wow, yeah,
The only
that's
restriction,
the best strat
the
in any
only
game.
restriction on it is that you can't select the same unit as the target of that strat more than once per battle round. So you
Um,
can't go +3 move, and then
and
shooting phase, sustained or lethals, and then
and
fight phase. I'm gonna have fire pinball as well.
yeah, okay, I like that. I like that you
You can't
can't
do
just
all three.
get
You
all of
can
them on
pick
one
two,
night
basically.
because that could have been nasty where you get +3 move, then restack it, get sustained lethal in the fight phase, say get onto an objective, kill something, and then when someone comes like we go to charge them, they go cool. I'll do it again, 5 and 6, like 5 up for him, 1 6 up for no pain. So at least there's that restriction
So
on
you
it,
can
but
either go do like a full eating of the +3 move and the sustained or lethals,
come
or
out
you can
damage,
go
be
for
defensive.
one of those two and then make yourself a bit
Yeah.
tougher.
That in the hands of a experienced player with this attachment that's a good player and they know what they're doing feels like that could like in the hands of someone that knows how to use it, when to use it at the right time. Man, that sounds like it could be really nasty. Yeah, that's that. That is probably the best strat in that in detachment. Wow. Okay, so this is, I think, from what I've heard so far, this feels like the detachment to watch. Um, so let's look at one more because we won't go to the fourth one. I've not heard too much chatter about the fourth one anyway, but we are gonna look at Lords of Dread. Is it Lords of Dread?
Yep.
Because that's the one
So
that people are harping on with the big knights, and it does sound cool. To be fair,
yeah, it's a lot of fun if you're planning to run all big knights. This is the first attachment in the game that gets 6 enhancement, which is so funny, and they're all
nuts.
themed, and they bloody managed to sneak a detachment enhancement in there. Sorry, for pretty much for Vashtor.
Boo!
So they managed to mark
Boo!
him up to be a chaos god
Boo!
when you know that's Bellacor's spot.
Yeah, Bellacor's wannabe. He's a Bellacor wannabe, man. That's all he is. He's really Bellacor's bitch. We all
Yeah.
know him.
He's a Be'lakor wannabe, and Be'lakor's a wannabe chaos god. So what does that make
No,
Vashtor?
no. Be'lakor is the fifth Chaos God. He's a Chaos God in training.
Yeah, he's trying. He's doing his best. He's slowly but surely growing in size, isn't he? To eventually, maybe he will end up as big as the gods themselves.
Yeah.
But he's been growing. So, okay, detachment rule for these points. The character models get +2 OC, and if your warlord's on the board, you get to use a certain stratagem for 0 CP. That stratagem, go over it now, is basically a sticky objective stratagem at the start of any phase that a Chaos Knight
Nuts.
character is controlling, and it
Nuts.
leaves it with a level of control of 5, unless you have more than that on it.
The fact they can just do that for free if the warlords on the board is nuts because we've been speaking about this and I spoke about this to a couple other people. So because it's OC5, you need to have 6 OC on there to take it, right? At the end of a phase. So you can't just waddle a greater demon up to it and go, cool, mine. This came up from someone else mentioning Rotagus. Well, because Rotagus' ability of -1 OC within 6 is only on enemy units, and because that's not an enemy unit, it won't affect it. So that feels super. And the fact that any of their characters can do it, as long as the Warlord's on the board, they get it for free. So they're just gonna do it every fucking time, and it's in any start of any phase. That if it
Start
was
of any
every
phase.
if it's their battle rate, if it was their command phase, I think that would be fine. But any phase, they can do it on every objective in one go, like in one turn. Obviously, I assume. Hold on, how many
Taking
times is
it
it?
free is only once per battle round.
Okay, once per battle round or battle.
Battle round.
Okay, still really good though. For 1 CP, they can stick
You
it to
get it for free
objectives.
5 times.
Yeah, that's nuts. And it's OC5. That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
It's very
Insane.
nice. Yeah, it kind of just means that with pretty much any of these detachments, like even Infernal Lance has a sticky objective stratagem. Infernal Lance is very good. Lord's Dreads are very good. If you're taking either of them, you don't need Plague Bearers. Like looked at, I've looked at doing Chaos Knights with Demon Allies plenty of times, and I've thought about putting Plague Bearers in just to sit on my home point. You don't need them anymore.
No, you take Nurglings and Beasts of Nurgle. I think you take
Yeah,
a couple
and
units
that's
of
pretty
Nurglings and
much it.
2 Beasts of Nurgle. Nurglings give you infiltrate defense, scout defense, gives you a bit of screening in the middle, or the back for 40 points, and then a couple beasts gives you some nice drop down and score, and be annoying because dealing with knight and a beast of Nurgle, like you can't just piddle at a beast of Nurgle. You have to actually invest into it, which is the same with knight. So they fit very well
Yeah.
hand in hand. Just quickly before we move off that, before we go into the rest of it, 'cause I just had a thought. So the strat, when you sticky the objective, it becomes OC5. Is there a caveat to, is it OC5 when nothing's on it, or is it OC5 just always?
So it's OC5 unless it would otherwise be higher. So
Oh, okay. So
when we say
you can't
unless it would
OC
otherwise be
seven,
higher,
so
you
you can't
can't just
OC
add a 5
17.
OC to it.
Because I was just thinking that they could just do it, and then because the big nuts are all OC12 in this detachment, now it's OC17. So it's not it's OC5 unless it would be higher, then it's not. It doesn't get the OC5. Okay, at
Yeah,
least they balanced that bit. Because I was just thinking in my head, Jesus
that would be
Christ.
stupid.
Yeah,
That would be really stupid.
it'd be insane. I mean, it's still insane, but it'd be busted. Okay, nice. Right, so we mentioned 6 enhancements. So one for each god, one for Bellator, and one for the other dick. Um,
So I I do want to go through all of them. I'm going to start with the Bellacore one because he's my guy.
yeah.
Um, so your Chaos Knight gets stealth, and once per battle, you can basically blank damage. But it's after you make a saving throw.
So it gets stealth and then can blank a damage after the save. So you can wait to see if you've saved it. If you fail it and you think, oh, that's a railgun, that's D6 plus 6 damage. Yeah, no, thank you. So it
Yeah.
does mean you can't blank dev wounds, right? Because it's after the saving throw. Dev wounds doesn't give you a
Yes.
saving throw. Is that once per battle blank or once per battle round?
Once per battle.
Okay.
Once for the whole game.
How many points is that?
It's to check. Uh,
That could be quite cool. Yeah, that could be nasty because if Scarbrand gets 3 wounds for 18 wounds and they just go quite just blank one of them, it's quite nice.
yeah,
Or
I
quite
get a
horrible,
feeling
but
it's going to be quite cheap.
like 15, 20 points.
Okay, codex points can't be right. They've got it as 5 points in the codex. There's no way.
It's going to be like
There
15
is
points. I reckon 15 points. I think it would be fine at 15 points. It might be
Lords
10.
of Dread is
Maybe
20.
10. I was 20. Okay. And it's
Why
okay.
the hell is it 5 points in the codex? What is wrong with them, honestly?
Don't ever take notice of codex points. I don't see why they print them in, why they print points in codexes anymore. Because they're never,
Right?
they're not even. It's not just that they're not right. They're completely out of whack. Like you look at some points, you think, "Fuck off, no way." Okay. What about going
Okay,
in?
so
Let's
next
go
we're going to go to the birdies one.
Zinch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mirror of Fates.
Hmm.
So
It's gonna be a
once per
fate
battle
dice, isn't it?
round,
It's a fate dice, isn't it? Is it?
not quite.
Oh,
So once per battle round, you can do a free strat on the Mirror of Fates card.
oh, for
And
fuck's
you
sake!
can do so even if another unit from your army has already been targeted by that strat.
So they can do double sticky for free, right?
This is absolutely sick. They can double sticky for free, and
Oh man!
and and that's potentially 3 tank shocks in a turn.
Oh, because of
If you
the
have a lancer
Lancer. Oh
and you have
man!
him,
Oh, that's grim. Oh, that's auto take. Surely that's auto take.
it's 30 points, but
That's
it's
still
auto
auto
take
take.
at 30 points.
Yeah, that's auto take.
There's a second bit for it as well. Once per battle, so that the free strat thing is once per battle round.
Yep.
The extra bit is once per battle. Just after your opponents use this strat, if the bearer's on the board, he can use this enhancement, and then until the end of the battle, the CP cost of that stratagem is +1 for your
Oh
opponent.
wow. Holy shit. So he just +1 CP for
This
the
is
rest
the
of the game.
biggest CP fuckery strat enhancement.
Realm of
Okay.
Chaos Denizens of the Warp in the bin. Now, holy shit, that is all I take that enhancement. Right, so let's just talk on this from our point of view. If you're playing Incursion, you've now got to be incredibly careful when you use Realm of Chaos or Denizens of the Warp. Because as soon as you use it, they're saving it for one of those. You've got to try and bait it, which against a good player is hard. If you're running Shadow Legion, they're going to hit your uh fuck's sake, the lance strap. The it's gone out of my head. Um, for Plague Legion, I reckon they'll do crit fives, maybe double battle shock. Oh no, all Merc Shadows for +5 movement on play barriers. Yeah. Oh Jesus. Um, there's a number of
There's
straps
so
that do
many,
it
so
on
much
excess.
flexibility. It's disgusting. And honestly, the
Wow,
fact
that's
that he doesn't
strong.
even have to be alive, so the model
Oh
only has to be alive when you first use it to make the stratagem +1
yeah, when he
CP.
dies, it still persists.
And he dies, it still persists.
Jeez, man,
So if
that's a
you
problem.
have to make the opponent wait longer to use that stratagem, which is incredibly hard with incursion
Yeah, massive.
because
This is an
you're going to use it almost every
awful
turn.
matchup for incursion. Yeah, like you can try and bait people out. When you play someone, you can gauge fairly early on their level, like their player skill. And that's how I love to play the person more than the army. So sometimes you can bait them into it with certain strats, and you might have to give up a certain strat, fine. But against a good player, they'll know what you do and they'll know exactly what they're going for. And I reckon an incursion, I mean, it could be one of those two. They probably will do Realm of Chaos most of the time. It might have to adjust how you play. Maybe you deep strike a little bit more, so you've already got some units in the air. Maybe you just, I don't know. I don't. It's a really hard one depending on the situation. Um, we're not just looking from an incursion point of view because all of the detachments have a strat that's decent, like one that
Yeah.
you're always going to be using no matter what. Pyrogenesis is now 2 CP again. Um, yeah, at least
Zinchra did that to you.
yeah, that's just something out. I mean, that's classic infection, right? At least Fate Weaver can help you out there a little bit. Um, and of course, Epidemius if you have him in Plague Legion, or not just Plague Legion, Epidemius and Fate Weaver can go in anyone except for Shadow Legion, of course. So, wow, okay, that's yeah. Next one, let's move on from that one because that's rage inducing. How good that is.
Yeah, the good thing is that they can only take three of these. Even though there's
Yes,
six of them,
yes.
we're lucky that they can only
Yeah, but
take three.
that's one of them. Instant.
That one is if that's
Instant.
not automatically going in every list, like what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Um, I'm gonna go to the Sinesh one next.
Okay.
At least I think it's the Sinesh one. Um, yeah, Blade of Celerity definitely sounds like a
Yeah,
Sinesh one.
that's definitely Sinesh.
So your range weapons get assault, and once per battle in the fight phase, you can give yourself fights first.
Oh, oh, oh! I'm going to charge Scarbrand into the Rampager. No, you ain't. Oh shit. Yeah,
Do I care about having assault on a rampager? Not really,
no,
but
you
having
don't.
once per game fights first.
Yeah. Um. This is not. This could still be taken on. Like a combat weapon shooting knight. Like a whatever. The Desecrator,
It
Abominant
is so good on the Lancer, mate.
on
It
the
is so good.
Lancers, man. Oh, look, forward rolled units being annoying and interacting wonky with rules. That doesn't happen, does
Unmentionables, we call them, mate.
it?
Unmentionables.
That's good. That's a good. It's
Um,
not all I take, but it's decent.
no,
It's
I
very,
take it is 35 points. So
oh, it's
you're paying a
pricey.
lot of points for
Yeah,
that
it's
once per
pricey.
game.
Yeah, it's pricey.
How is it more expensive than Mirror Fates? I don't know. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not.
Um, so the Nurgle one is Putrid Carapace. This is 30 points as well. You get a 2-up armor save on your knight,
Okay.
and once per battle, at the start of either player's command phase, you can heal D6 wounds.
It's okay. It's all right. You're going to take 3. I doubt you're going to take this over some of the other ones, but it's
I
okay.
don't think it's 30 points. I
No,
think
it's 15, 15, 20 points.
2-up armor save and healing D6 wounds is
Once per
not as
game.
good as
If it,
blanking a damage and stuff.
no,
I
if
think
it's
Blessing of the Dark Master is any better.
yeah. If it was every command phase, D6 wounds, maybe. But yeah, don't know. 2-up save
That
is
would be
nice.
stupid.
Yeah, it would be stupid. It would at that point be very stupid. Yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. I feel like this is more of a a proper Chaos Knight player who's got like full themed knights and have got a proper Nurgle Knight and they want to take this on the Nurgle Knight. Otherwise, competitively, probably not seeing it.
Yep.
What about Angry Boy?
So this would be throwing Mechanicum of Skulls, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't given like a horrible corn weapon or anything, annoyingly, in this one. So you can reroll charge rolls, and
Okay,
once per battle in your charge phase, you can charge even if you advanced.
Okay, so I was going to say Rampager, but the Rampager gets advanced on charge once per game anyway, right? If he still does that.
I don't think he does anymore. I need to
Oh,
check
but if he
this. I think
doesn't,
they
then
took
yeah,
it away.
quickly check it. If he doesn't, then this goes on a Rampager. I
Yeah.
mean, it's we're gonna say it again.
Yeah, no, he doesn't.
He doesn't have it anymore.
So he now gets dev wounds when he charges.
Okay. All right, that's good on him. It's good on a Lancer again. Um, that's a really good one. Again, I think that's that at the moment that Mirror of Fate and Dark Master Blessing, I think, are the three ones you're going to be looking at the moment. What about Dickhead's
I
one?
think Wartborn Stalker, it's actually quite good, annoyingly.
Oh, wow.
So it gives you deep strike, and
That's good.
once per battle, uppy downy.
Oh, yeah, okay, that one over. Okay, so there's four enhancements there. They're going to be picking from regularly.
Yeah.
It's going to depend on their flavor of knights, I guess. But
Yeah,
Mirror of
Blade of
Fate,
Celerity is good, but 35 points is an awful lot.
yeah, it's a lot.
For once per game fights first.
Yeah,
And I think good players are able to play around things like fights first. So
100%.
that's why personally I wouldn't take it.
I think Mirror of
Guessing
Fate.
at the Dark Master being 20 is brilliant. Mirror
Yeah,
of Fates is auto include at 30.
I think
Wartborn Stalker,
that's nearly auto include. I don't know. An uppy deep shock uppy down
10
night is
points.
nothing to be sneezy at, huh?
It's 10 points.
It is not 10 points. Is it really
10
10
points.
points? That's not gonna last. That's way too
It's not
cheap.
going to start at 10 points. It will go up to
That's all,
like 30.
10 points. That's auto include. That's two
Yeah,
auto include
100%.
enhancements. Yeah, it's got to go up to Jesus Christ. Yeah, I get it because it's basically like you're probably going to start him in reserve, so he deep strikes down, does something, comes off the board, comes back down again, right? It's going to go on a shooty night, presumably.
Yeah.
So maybe a tyrant or a double weapon spoiler. Um, okay. Oh wow. Right. Let's quickly have a look at some of the strats before we wrap up the episode.
Yeah, so let's have a look. So we've got the sticky objectives one we already mentioned. Shooting or fight phase after the enemy unit selected attacks. -1 damage.
Jesus, Screamers are bang awful
2
now.
CP though.
Okay.
Yeah, but oh no, sorry, I got something wrong with Mirror of Fates, mate. I didn't read it in enough detail. The free strat thing is only on command reroll. I missed that bit.
Wait, say that again.
So his own the Mirror of Fate's
Yeah.
own free strat is only on command reroll, so he gets a free CP reroll.
Oh, so they can't free the sticky strap.
They can't free the sticky strat. They can't free the tank shock again and things like that.
Okay. Less auto include now then. Still good, but there's less also.
Making the enemy's best stratagem -1.
Yeah, I think that's
+1 CP.
that's what carries it. Yeah, that's what carries it.
That's what will make it auto include.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, sorry. Runes of Disdain. This one is called the -1 damage strat in either shooting or fight phase. It's 2 CP,
but it's still decent when they need it.
Yeah, against Death Guard, Death Shroud. Watch out for that. Anyone who's trying to finish off a big night with Screamers and they've got 2 CP, watch out for that. We've got Spiteful Demise. So this is Explosion on a 4+. Very simple.
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's not bad.
For a CP, it's one of those that, you know,
in the right situation.
This detachment in general, it feels like it's a very thematic one if you want to run 4 or 5 big nights.
Yeah.
And it's going to be pretty good as well because some of the enhancements available.
Yeah.
But they don't have the fundamentals that things like Infernal Lance has.
Yeah.
Infernal Lance tips this one because of how, particularly for demons, it takes it from what we used to have as a positive matchup, but all of a sudden you've got Battle Shock Tricks and you're tougher and you're killier and potentially faster if you want it. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't think this is positive.
I think this is now a really bad matchup for us in general. From the first impression.
So one of the Lords of Dread ones is Titanic Duel. So it's shooting or fight phase. Chaos Knight's character, when they're selected to shoot or fight, pick an enemy monster or vehicle, and until the end of the phase, you get reroll hit rolls of 1 and wound rolls of 1 against that target. If it's Titanic, reroll all hits and wounds.
The people on the people listening to this can't see my reaction to that strat. But my head just went between my legs. Oh Jesus, man. Oh man,
Yeah,
if you walk into a table when someone's got this detachment, I think you might just go, yeah, Paul, let's just not play the game. More like for you because the
can
detachment
we
you're
just like
playing.
play Titanicus rules
Yeah,
instead rather than playing these rules?
because you're an incursion main, and this feels like the fucking incursion detachment really badly. Oh, that's good. That's gonna get all of our stuff. Doesn't matter what it is, because obviously because we run every list is gonna have greater demons, right? Doesn't matter what detachment you play. Um,
Yeah.
well, almost.
It's a
Um,
nice one to give you the edge in the night off as well.
yes,
Because suddenly to
yes.
go, oh, I'm playing against Infernal Lance. You might have a 5-up invuln and a 6-up Fear and Pain, but I've got reroll hits and wounds. So have this fucking 36 shot Gatling bastard with wounding you on hitting you on 3s rerolling, wounding you on 5s rerolling. All of it's 2 damage. Do you want to spend 2 CP to make it -1 damage? You can, but it's 2 CP.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, this I can see why this detachment has so much hype around it now. Yeah, so I think Chaos Knights could be a problem for us as a faction.
Yeah.
Ouch. And I think I know I keep harping on about it, but I'm going to keep saying it. I think because it is the most common detachment for us, Incursion is going to absolutely hate this. It's not unwinnable. It's not unwinnable, but Christ, is it a uphill struggle. This attachment is grim. It's really. I think it's bad for all of our detachments. This attachment. Um.
Lords of Dread, yeah.
Yeah, Lords of Dread. I think it's awful.
Just Mirror of Fates, right? Mirror of Fates and Blessing of the Dark Master on their own.
Yeah.
Suddenly make all of Incursion's tricks, throw them out the window.
Yeah.
Um, and all the other detachments, like you mentioned, they all rely on one key strat, which they can mess up with Mirror of Fates, as long as that is the knight that is fairly well protected. And honestly,
So
if you're getting a CP reroll for free, I bear in mind how important the enemy's stratagem being more expensive is. I think there's no reason why you don't just take this on a despoiler that sits at the backboard
I
and
agree.
shoots all game.
So if you're, this is the thing, it depends on the player skill of your opponent. If you're playing against a good player, you will never be able to stop this, right? You won't be able to get the Warlord either, which again, if you're playing against a detachment, you want to try and kill that Warlord to stop that free sticky strat, because that strat is huge. Same with this Mirror of Fates. If you can try and delay the use of a strat, the key strat, and then get to that and kill the knight, awesome. Problem is, if you're playing against a good player, which I reckon we're going to see a few good players on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't think you ever touch either of those knights ever, unless it's gone terribly wrong. And there are some good knight players out there. There's that I can't remember his name. The guy that you played, he's a very good knight player, Chaos Knight player.
Ratnu's idea,
Yeah,
brilliant
no,
player.
he's an
I know
insanely
he's
good
going to
knight
be
player.
excited about this.
Yeah, he's probably going to be on this attachment, I would assume. And I know from yourself and other people I know who have played him that that guy is pretty good. And so yeah, in the hands of players like that,
Also
my
want
God,
to shout out Chris Cho from Team Sigil. Another one I know, very,
Yeah.
very good player. And I don't know if he's going to be running this or Infernal. I think last I saw him, he was running Infernal. Certainly the list build looked like it was Infernal. But it might be Lords of Dread. I'm not
Yeah.
particularly
So
sure.
I think either the three any of the like all three of the detachments we spoke about seem good. The Traitorous Lance might be more of a gimmick, and it's just off the bat seeing the rules, being demon players who like the battle shock, the shenanigans they have. Maybe that's what influenced us on that one. But them two, Infernal Lance, that's the name? Infernal Lance. Yeah, Infernal Lance, Lords of Dread. Those two I think are the ones you're going to watch out for. They're the two you're going to see. We didn't look at the fourth one, but I've heard nothing about a fourth one. I don't even know the name of the fourth one, so I'm going to assume it's not as good. So yeah, wow. I think we definitely need to be careful looking at Chaos Knights. I don't think it's a favorable matchup whatsoever. And in the hands of a good player, it's going to be a hard, hard, hard matchup. You've gone silent. Can't hear you. He's trying to talk. You can't see him, but I can. He's trying to talk, but there's no volume, and I don't know what happened. You might just
Is
be
that
stuck.
okay now?
Yeah, there we go. He's back.
It's the book being on top of my keyboard. That's what happened. So I guess caveat for Lords of Dread is emphasis is all on the characters with this one because all of your strats are on characters. You've got 6 enhancements. They want you to take 3. That probably means you're going to have 5 big knights. Yes, you've got the sticky strat for free if your warlord's alive and all of that. That is still only 5 assets to play with, and there's not as many battle shock tricks with this compared to something like Traitorous Lance.
You want to try and pull them apart. You want to try and
Yeah,
force them to have to separate the assets and isolate. Isolate and pick, I think, is the way. Play it like a jackal. I think that's how you play this matchup. You isolate a knight,
yeah,
you pick it off, you move on. Do not try
yeah.
and take on the entire lot of knights in one go. Pick off, try and use movement tricks to try and slow them down. Can big knights move over models?
They can.
Ah, balls. Okay.
You
You can
can't
still
really
you can
slow them
still
down.
stop
It
it.
might
You
be
just
quite stratagem to do mortal wounds and a battle shock test to you if they do move over something.
to kick you as a go over. Damn it. So
Yeah,
when you are trying to block them, you're not creating a line to block, you're trying to create a shape that they can't land on, right? So
yeah,
um yeah, you want to isolate and divide to try and play into that best. Um if you can pick on one of the either the Mirror of Fate before it gets to do what it wants to do, or the Warlord, maybe take the opportunity in the right situation. But again, a good player will not let you do that. Um, but yeah, and obviously that Infernal Lance, you have to be aware of their tokens and what they've used, what they could still use. It's just going to require it's going to be a very thinky game. You've got to be a clear head. You've got to have a strategy planned, but you've also got to be willing to adapt mid game should you need to, depending on the situation, right? So yeah, Chaos Knights.
yeah. I would definitely say those 2 detachments are 100%
Yeah, definitely.
the stronger ones.
Yeah, definitely. They
Um,
yeah,
ones to watch out for.
yeah. Okay, so I think we'll end it there. About an hour and 10 minutes. Okay, we for us that's good. But that is episode 1. So thank you for tuning in. Like I said, this is going to be a weekly podcast. If there is any topics you want us to specifically cover, then please let us know. Another topic I really want to do is like not list critique, I guess list critique to an extent. Like people send your lists in, and me and Byron will talk about them, and we will give advice on them, etc., etc. And so, anything you want to specifically have us talk about, let us know, and we will be more than happy to oblige to suggested topics. Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
Um, so yeah, I mean, unless you got any last words, think we're cool to leave it off there.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool.
Watch
Right.
out for Chaos Knights every.
Yeah, what's that? All demon players. I don't even care about any other faction. They can suffer, but you demon guys you beautiful, beautiful denizens of the warp, watch out for the big stompy, scary knights. Because they're scary. Cool. Thank you for tuning in. We will catch you all in the next one.